We've got a leaky fuel filler neck on this 97 GMC Sierra. Take off the fuel cap, and underneath that, there's 3 bolts. We'll take those bolts off with a 9/32. These are so rusty that just like popcorn, these heads just snapped right off. You can see just how small, how little steel is actually holding that on. Gently try the others. This one was able to come out. Underneath we have the fuel filler neck right here, which connects to this rubber hose which goes down to the fuel tank. We need to disconnect this hose clamp right here, this ground wire right here, and behind here is another rubber hose. We'll pull off the ground wire with a 10mm. And that's free. And I'll loosen up the hose clamp on the other side. With that hose clamp off, we can pop off this rubber hose. I left this top bolt in, so this is still stable whenever you need to break that rubber hose off of the steel line. Now I can take it off. We can drop this down, and then we only have this hose to disconnect, and we have a better angle at it now. We'll cut this old hose off because it's pretty deteriorated. With everything disconnected and it freed up, we can start cleaning this up. Right here on the end where it connected to that rubber hose is where we have our little rust holes, and that's where a little bit of fluid was leaking out when you filled the tank. With all the scale cleaned off of it, it actually looks to be in pretty good shape. This is pretty thick metal. There's not any deep penetrating rust like there is right here. Right where that rubber hose was sitting, I think water was able to sit in there, and that's why these rust holes formed pretty bad here. And we're gonna try to repair that with epoxy or JB Weld. Using some aluminum foil tape, I'm gonna put a little backing on here so I have something to pack the JB Weld against. And this is marine JB Weld, so it's gonna be able to hold up to the fuel. I'll measure out my parts of A and B. Do a 50-50 mix of hardener and Part A. Mix this stuff really, really good. With the color all very consistent, let's go ahead and apply it. Make sure this is nice and even, there's not any significant low spots, and this is going to take about 16 to 24 hours to cure. Now that we're at the point where the JB Weld is hardened, I'm just going to round this out a little bit, smoothing out the transition so that it's actually going to seal. Just hatch it back and forth, just until it's flat and smooth. We don't need to go any farther than that. With all the transitions nice and smooth, I'm just going to throw a light coat of paint on it to keep the rust from coming back. With everything all cleaned up, let's go ahead and put this back in reverse order. Put the bolts back in. Had to find another bolt for the one that snapped off here, and you can see that new one, and everything is really solid right now. We'll pour some fuel in, pull it into the garage, and see if we fix that small leak. After sitting in the garage, I don't smell any fuel, so that fuel filler neck is fixed.